The SUV headlights turned on directly in front of my tent. The year this happened was probably the lowest point of my life. I was 26, unemployed, drinking too much, sleeping too late, and somehow still convincing myself that things would magically work out eventually. My girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend now, had finally reached her limit with me. Her name's not important, so I'll call her Erin. Erin had spent years trying to help me get my life together. She pushed me to apply for jobs, helped pay my bills, and constantly tried convincing me I was capable of more than just drifting through life. And for years, I repaid her by doing absolutely nothing with myself. Then one night, after another pointless argument about my future, she finally snapped. She told me to pack my things and leave. I still remember standing there in the apartment doorway holding a garbage bag full of clothes while she cried in the kitchen, pretending not to look at me. And somehow, even then, I still felt sorry for myself instead of her. The only thing I took seriously back then was camping. Ironically, camping had originally been Erin's hobby. Early in our relationship, she dragged me out on a weekend trip because she thought nature would clear my head. Instead, I became obsessed with it. There was something addictive about sitting beside a fire in complete darkness with nothing but trees surrounding you. No bills, no expectations, no responsibilities, just silence. Over the years, we found one campsite we kept returning to. It wasn't completely isolated, but it also wasn't one of those crowded tourist campgrounds either. It sat deep beside a lake with scattered campsites spread far apart from each other. That place became ours. So after the breakup, when I had nowhere else to go emotionally, I packed my truck and drove there alone. Part of me told myself it was about independence, that I was proving I didn't need Erin. But honestly, I secretly hoped she'd show up there somehow, maybe with friends or family. Maybe we'd talk things through beside the fire and everything would magically fix itself. That's the kind of delusional thinking I had back then. The first night alone actually felt peaceful. I drank too much whiskey beside the fire, listened to the wind moving through the trees, and convinced myself life wasn't completely falling apart. By morning, reality came crashing back. I woke up hungover, sweaty, and freezing at the same time. The campsite looked depressing in daylight. Empty beer cans beside the fire pit, half-burned wood, mud everywhere from rain the previous week. I sat in my fold-out chair, cooking cheap sausages over weak flames while staring blankly at the lake. That's when I heard another vehicle approaching. At first, I assumed they'd drive past toward another section of the campground. Instead, the SUV slowed down directly beside my campsite. That immediately annoyed me. People normally gave each other space out there. You could literally camp hundreds of yards apart if you wanted. But this family parked absurdly close to me, like they didn't care I was already there. A tall, skinny father stepped out first, then the mother, then two children, a boy and a girl, who looked maybe 8 or 9 years old. Even from a distance, something about them felt wrong. Not dangerous at first, just deeply unpleasant. The father immediately started yelling while unloading gear from the back of the SUV. Not normal parenting yelling either. I mean genuine screaming. "The Harris family doesn't act like this," he shouted at the boy. "The Harris family respects each other." The weirdest part? The kids completely ignored him. Not like children ignoring parents normally. I mean, they genuinely acted like he didn't exist. The daughter laughed while throwing dirt at her brother. The boy responded by screaming insults at her that no child that age should even know. Meanwhile, the mother barely helped unpack. She dragged out one folding chair, sat down in the sunlight, and just watched everything happen in silence. Hey guys, so I honestly don't know if posting this is a terrible idea, but me and my boss found something a few days ago and things have been getting weirder ever since. I'm not joking, and before anyone says this is fake or some ARG or creepypasta thing, I genuinely wish it was because my life would be way easier right now. I work at a Quick Check in Scotch Plains. Started as a temporary summer job after college, and somehow 3 years later I'm still there doing overnight shifts because my art degree turned out to be completely useless. Most nights are boring. Drunk customers, burnt coffee, cleaning counters at 4 in the morning while questioning every decision that led me there. That morning started the exact same way. Around 5 a.m., the store had been empty for maybe half an hour, except for Dale buying his usual coffee. Then my boss Mike walked in, stopped near the counter, and immediately started sniffing the air. "Jay, did you spill something?" he asked. I laughed at first, but then I smelled it too. Something rotten. Sweet and sour at the same time. Like spoiled meat left in the sun. Mike grabbed a broom and started checking around for a dead rat while complaining about how much money he spent on pest control. A few minutes later, he called me into the storage room asking why there was a weird stuffed animal sitting on the table in the back. He said it smelled awful. I figured maybe Kevin from the night shift left something weird behind, because honestly, that wouldn't even crack the top 10 strangest things he's done. Mike told me to throw it away. I grabbed a trash bag and walked into the storage room. But when I got there, the thing was gone. Mike swore it had been sitting right there seconds earlier. We were arguing about it when we suddenly heard this soft, bubbling sound from above us. We looked up and both froze instantly. Attached to the ceiling was this pale grey creature with 5 long tentacle-like limbs stuck against the tiles. It had 2 large wrinkled sacs on the sides of its head and a small black beak that clicked quietly every few seconds. The weirdest part was that it didn't seem aggressive at all. It just hung there, watching us, even though it didn't appear to have eyes. Thick slime dripped from its body onto the floor below, while it made soft cooing sounds, almost like a bird. Mike whispered, "The stuffed animal." Somehow, that made the whole thing even creepier. Instead of attacking us, the creature slowly climbed down onto the table and started moving one tentacle through the slime it left behind. It was drawing something. Me and Mike stood there in complete silence while it finished a rough little picture that looked exactly like the Pringles logo. "It drew the Pringles guy," Mike said quietly. The creature made another happy little cooing sound. Mike grabbed a can of Pringles from the shelf and carefully rolled it toward the creature. The thing practically lit up with excitement. Using its tentacles, it opened the can and quickly ate all the chips before gently rolling the empty container back toward us. After that, it became weirdly friendly. We fed it different flavors, and every single time it seemed happier. Barbecue, sour cream and onion, salt and vinegar. It loved all of them. Eventually, it approached us and slowly reached one tentacle toward me. Mike told me to touch it. I said absolutely not. He threatened my overtime pay, so eventually I reached out anyway. The second I touched the creature, it felt like my entire body froze. Suddenly, images started flashing through my head. Huge yellow skies, endless oceans under giant moons, massive alien landscapes covered in glowing plants. Then darkness, empty space, cold loneliness, stretching for what felt like forever. I could somehow feel emotions coming from the creature too. Confusion, fear, hunger, but also relief. Like it was finally no longer alone. When I pulled my hand away, I realized I was crying. Mike looked at me like I'd completely lost my mind. I tried explaining that the creature didn't feel evil at all. It felt intelligent somehow. Lost, maybe. Mike asked if it hypnotized me or something. I ended up naming it Benjamin because it liked Pringles. And honestly, I panicked trying to think of a name. For a while, things almost felt normal again. Benjamin stayed in the storage room eating chips and climbing across the ceiling while me and Mike kept working. Then, around 6 in the morning, a woman came into the store furious because the milk she bought was expired by 1 day. She started yelling at me while I apologized and tried calming her down. That's when Benjamin crawled out from the storage room. The woman looked down at it and immediately freaked out. She started calling it disgusting and threatening to report the store. Benjamin's head sacs started vibrating rapidly while it made nervous clicking noises. The woman kept yelling louder and louder until suddenly Benjamin let out this sharp screech that echoed through the entire store. Every light flickered at once. The woman screamed and stumbled backward while Benjamin quickly climbed up onto the counter. Then everything went silent. Completely silent. For a few seconds, nobody moved. The woman grabbed her things and rushed out of the store, still yelling that she was calling corporate. Benjamin slowly climbed back down and disappeared into the storage room again. Mike and I just stood there, staring at each other, trying to process what happened. A few minutes later, all the electronics in the store started malfunctioning. The coffee machines shut off. The lights dimmed. Even the security monitors started flickering with static. Then one of the cameras briefly showed something standing outside near the gas pumps. Another creature, taller than Benjamin, watching the building completely motionless. The image disappeared almost instantly. Mike thought it was a glitch until we heard tapping sounds coming from the roof above us. Slow, rhythmic, like something crawling around up there. Benjamin started cooing softly from inside the storage room, like it recognized whatever was outside. We locked the front doors and stayed inside until sunrise, listening to those sounds moving around overhead. Right before morning, the tapping finally stopped. When we checked outside, there was thick slime spread across part of the roof near the back alley and strange marks leading toward the woods behind the store. Benjamin has stayed hidden most of the day since then. But last night, while closing up, I noticed something scratched into the storage room wall in slime. It wasn't random. It looked deliberate. 4 tall shapes standing together beneath a dark sky with a single arrow pointing toward our town. Mike thinks we need to call somebody. Government, police, literally anyone. But every time we mention getting rid of Benjamin, the creature starts making these sad little noises and hiding in the corner like it understands us. I know this all sounds insane. Trust me, if someone posted this online a week ago, I would have laughed too. But I swear, this is real. And right now, while I'm typing this from my apartment, I can hear soft tapping sounds coming from somewhere outside my window again.